Meet Nikolai Voronenko, a Ukrainian teacher, pacifist, and eco-activist. He lives with his wife in a dugout far from civilization and enjoys life. But one day, their peaceful life is destroyed by the invasion of Russian occupiers. Where will destiny lead the hero who doesn't believe in violence? It's Mary Recaps with you, and today, I'll tell you about a war movie based on actual events that took place in Ukraine in 2013.
Я хочу вигнати цю наволоч з нашої землі.
Nikolai works as a physics teacher and goes to school by bike. Upon arrival, he hears television news in the teacher's office. It shows mass protests due to the government's refusal to sign the document for Ukraine's accession to the European Union. Physics lesson. Nikolai tells the lesson's topic, but student Ivan disrupts the class. He acts rude and spits papers. At the end of the lesson, Ivan tells the teacher that he is a stranger here. The man returns home and arranges a romantic evening with his pregnant wife, Nastia, soulfully playing the guitar around the fire. Before going to bed, she gives him a charm carved from wood in the form of an angel. Russian soldiers ride in a van at night, taking off stripes from their uniforms on order. In the morning, Nikolai goes to work and sees two military men not far from the house. He catches eye contact with them but doesn't mind it as he continues to walk. The news reports, Russian militants crossed the border with Ukraine at night and seized power in the city next to which the couple lives. Nikolai understands who those soldiers are and hurries home to save Nastia. Back home, Nikolai sees his pregnant wife being beaten by two soldiers. He runs to her but gets hit in the face with a gun butt and falls to the ground. The invaders keep kicking the couple, accusing them of being scouts. One of the torturers finds Nastia's drawing and sets it on fire in the dugout. Their house is on fire. The military was about to leave when suddenly Nastia, grabbing a stone, rises to her feet and, with a cry of despair, wanders towards them. Gunshots are heard. And so, the Russians are gone, leaving Nikolai alone with his wife. He exhaustedly crawls up to Nastia, hugs and kisses her, experiencing unbearable pain. She dies in his arms. In an instant, Nikolai loses everything, his home, his beloved, and his unborn child. The flame completely covers the dugout, and Nikolai looks at the black smoke with hatred, having only one desire, to take revenge. Two Ukrainian soldiers find Nikolai and his dead wife on the ground. They dig a grave while Nikolai enters the burnt house, hoping to find at least something that survived. Fortunately for him, the angel guardian made by his wife survived. A tear rolls down Nikolai's cheek. Returning to the grave, Nikolai lowers his wife's lifeless body. The military helps him get up, and Nikolai leaves with them for the military base of the Ukrainian army. Seeing the weapon, Nikolai understands this is the opportunity to avenge everything that was taken from him. He joins the volunteer battalion. The teachings of the pacifist Nikolai, who never held a weapon in his hands, begin. The first attempt to assemble and disassemble the machine gun was unsuccessful. The commander calls the girl to demonstrate her skills, emphasizing that even she does it better than Nikolai.
Ось так, мирня.
Training continues. The team learns to climb over obstacles and under barbed wire, master hand-to-hand combat skills, collect machine guns again, and increase endurance through running and push-ups. Nikolai trains hard but realizes he is weak compared to the others. And yet, his desire for revenge motivates him to train more than others, even when everyone is resting. On one of the training days, the commander announces that there are not enough snipers at the front. Volunteers organized courses, they need volunteers. Nikolai is among the applicants, but his candidacy is not even considered and is ridiculed because of his inability to assemble a machine gun. But he is persistent and offers to assemble and disassemble it in 20 seconds. And for more excitement, he blindfolds with a bandage, which arouses the commander's interest. Time has gone. Nikolai did it in 18 seconds, and the commander gave him the nickname Private Raven. The group is transported to another part, where beginner snipers will be trained. Captain gives the first lecture and tells how to become a professional in this trade. Then the group is assigned weapons, but Raven gets an old rifle instead of a sniper. It upsets him, but there's nothing to do about it. The most exciting thing begins: practice. The first workout is a strength test. Future snipers lie on the ground, and Captain stands behind them and shoots near each fighter. If you twitch, you're out. Raven passes this test successfully. The second training is shooting. The group is in position. On the count of 3, they have to make a shot. Raven misses. Lecture again. Captain teaches to calculate the distance. Thanks to his knowledge of physics, Nikolai quickly copes. It wasn't in vain that he worked as a physics teacher. And finally, the last workout, target shooting. Captain announces the results. Everyone gets up, but Nikolai continues to lie down. He says the test is not over yet. Nikolai waits for the right moment and then opens fire. The commander adds +3 points to him for a successful hit. The next day, the group officially joins the ranks of snipers. They are awarded a certificate and assigned a level of skill. Raven is a first-class sniper, even though he was with an outdated rifle from the very beginning. Captain congratulates everyone, the training has been successfully completed. At the meeting, the officers discuss the Russian militants who have occupied the stronghold and decide to do some cleaning before the enemies fortify their positions. By order of the commander, snipers and a capture group are sent to storm the positions, and Nikolai is taken on the first combat mission. Squad in position. Nikolai helps calculate the distance for Captain. Snipers are preparing to shoot, but a car with Ukrainian civilians drives up to the checkpoint. The military stopped them and took away their documents. The civilian is indignant, which infuriates the soldiers, and they beat the civilians. Snipers remain on alert, waiting for the right moment. There is a countdown, and the group opens fire on targets. One of the surviving Russians takes the girl hostage, but the commander, despite the difficult position, skillfully shoots him in the head. The commander congratulates Raven on successfully completing his first combat mission. Ukrainian troops occupy an essential command and control point and hang out the Ukrainian flag. Time passes. A capture group is sent to a new combat mission at dawn. At the destination, 2 snipers mine the forest and make a mark on the tree. Raven and Captain remain in position. The scouts report seeing a group of 5 people in Russian uniforms. Nikolai, with surprise and disappointment, notices Ivan among them, his former student of the rebel, but he understands that each of them has made his choice. At Cap's command, Raven fires at the target, and the explosives detonate, blowing the Russians to pieces. Time passes. Raven is called on the next task, to observe the enemy's positions. He and Captain take positions. Suddenly, Raven notices that one of the shooters is his wife's killer. He is ready to shoot, but Captain doesn't give permission and forbids opening fire. Nikolai is no longer able to stop. He longs to avenge his wife and makes a shot at the killer. Ukrainian fighters try to hit the second soldier, but he reports to the Russian sniper their location. He notices the opponents and fires a fatal shot at Captain, and Nikolai realizes he made a big mistake. Raven gets under heavy mortar fire and tries to drag his comrade to the pit to take cover from the fragments. He screams in pain, holds his partner, and realizes that his mistake cost Captain his life. A lot of time passes, and Nikolai is sent on a new combat mission. He wants to avenge the commander's death and begins hunting down enemy snipers. He successfully neutralizes the 2, but he never finds Cap's killer. The brigade commander calls Raven and says the Russian sniper has finally shown up. Nikolai disassembles and folds the rifle that belonged to Captain and drives to his destination. The commander talks about a Russian sniper with the call sign Gray. The enemy is posting videos of their killings to demoralize, and one of the videos is Captain. The killer is sitting in a chemical plant, not changing his position, and he won't be able to open fire on him, otherwise, the cylinders will explode, leading to an environmental disaster. The officer announces the plan, and the detachment takes up positions. Nikolai, in camouflage, creeps up to the enemy's positions and takes a shot at the Russian soldier. Suddenly, he recognizes the second killer of his wife. With 2 shots, Raven eliminates the filthy occupier. The commander gives the order for full combat readiness to the snipers. The countdown begins, and the snipers shoot the enemy guard group. A machine gun burst is heard, a diversionary maneuver, with the help of which Nikolai kills one of Gray's observers. A Russian sniper conducts a roll call. The first one, and the group don't answer. He goes to the roof to check the positions, sees the dead observer, and asks the commander to send help. The snipers start hunting each other. Everyone is trying to be careful. Nikolai finds Gray's position, hides, and prepares to strike. Gray returns to his position, aims, and notices the angel figure, looking at it in confusion for a couple of seconds. Raven jumps on top of him and cold-bloodedly inflicts a fatal blow with a knife in the neck. Nikolai feels justice because he was able to avenge Cap's death. He leaves the grenade and leaves. But nothing ended. Reinforcements arrived at the Russian militants. Nikolai takes position and loads his rifle. Gray's walkie-talkie goes off, and Raven answers. And kills the military man with whom he just spoke. The car stops, Russian soldiers run out of it, and a shootout begins. The snipers remain in position, and automatic bursts are heard from the enemy. This doesn't help them, the Ukrainian detachment still kills all the enemies. Combat mission completed. And Raven fulfilled his primary task of avenging his wife and captain. Devastated, Nikolai leaves the chemical plant and heads for his dugout. He approaches Nastia's grave and takes out the angel figure, telling her,
Нехай ще побуде зі мною.
Raven feels pain and hatred because too much has been taken from him. Therefore, he decides to continue the fight until he has banished all Russians from his land. With sorrow, Nikolai looks at the grave for the last time and leaves. Coming February 24, 2022, Russian authorities begin a full-scale invasion of the territory of Ukraine. And Raven is already in position and ready to meet the enemy.